dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight. Peacemakers gaming light so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace. Speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam. Racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night. NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight. Peacemakers gaming life so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace. Speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam. Racers' hearts with fervor gleam.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this afternoon as the HCK Beagles Truck Series gets underway here from the beautiful Iowa. It is the Iowa 167 Where the Corn Grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes. You check the Muehlberger Custom Homes being a part of this series, being an amazing sponsor here with the HCK Beagles. We can't thank him and the entire Muehlberger Custom Homes family for being a part of the amazing racing here with the HCK Beagles as we get ready to rumble again here from Iowa. It seems like we've been here quite a bit over the last few days. We had an Iowa race on Saturday, we were back here on Sunday, and now here again on Tuesday afternoon. It is Iowa week up here on Peacemaker Gaming, and trust me, this place does not disappoint. It is a lot of fun. It is a ton of great racing action, door to door, beating and banging and battling out there on the speedway, and that's exactly what we're going to see again here tonight with the HCK Beagles. As Herbie's Wild Ride says, let's go, baby! Let's go, Herbie! Let's get it, baby. As Richard Bradshaw's says, let's go as well. This is the number 20 car. Has my face on it. Let's go, the pan. It's got your face on it, Richard. That's what we like to see, my boy. As K-Dub coming and showing the love over there on Twitch or on Facebook as well. Says, let's go. Thanks, Bruce Muehlberger, for sponsoring tonight. Huge shout out there to Bruce Muehlberger. Huge shout out to the entire Muehlberger Custom Homes family for being a part of this show this evening. As we'll get them ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready to go to battle here this evening. Driver's going to jump out onto the racetrack here for their for the start of this feature event. It is time to shine here. Each and every one of these drivers is going to be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. As the Buckies, Celsius, number 16 rider Alex Pelican will start in that top spot. So Pelican out in front with Chris Gilbert going to start in second. Nicholas Snyder back there in third, and Brandon Deming rounding out our top four there on the speedway. Then we see that three machine. That is Mark Beverly, the 20 ride. That is Jason LePan and his Tech Warriors, number 20 ride, starting there in six. Tyson Ping Pankow and the Dirt Track Junkies. Number 91, he is there in 7th. To his outside will be his teammate in the Dirt Track. Actually, no, it's the 34 ride as Zach Michael will start to his outside. John Herbert will start on the inside of row number 5 there in the 9th position. To his outside in that Dirt Track Junkies. Number 83, it's Josh Ely. Starting in position number 11 in that one ride, it's the Race Line Machine of Brad Lane. He's going to have the Celsius Napa Auto Parts and number 27 to Nick Gardner to his outside. The 71 of Austin Gustafson will start there in 16th. To his outside, it's Cal Turbeville, as Turbeville there in position number 14 on the racetrack. And then we see the number 18 ride, that is Jacob Grube back there, last week's winner, sits in position number 15 for the start of this race as Will Klein there to his outside. Brian Chu, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Rob McDonald there in the Juke Joint Friends for Pets 31, back in the 19th position, Ed Koshersberger, Tim Blankenbeckler, Joshua Ledoux, Gregory Turner, Ryan Peterson, Neil Lapidus, John McCullich, Robert Howard, Kevin Winker, Stephen Hines, Kyle Van Tassel, bringing up the rear of the field as 30 drivers duking it out here in this one as we are quickly green flag racing here in the Iowa 167 where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Homes in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. As we are quickly green flag racing, it's Alex Pelican who's able to lead this first lap as we do go back under the yellow flag. So caution flag quickly coming out here on this one. Lap number 1 already running into some issues as we'll take a look back. Looks like some problems out there for the 64 ride, the Klondike Machine here of Cal Turbeville. Looks like Turbeville in the 18 door-to-door off of corner number 2. It looks like the 18 washes up. They make a little bit of contact, gets that 64 bent out of shape. He gets a little love nudge there in the back bumper from the number, I believe that is the 41 ride, or the 14 ride right there in that Silverado. He's going to give him a little shot there in the shorts as he was just trying to get that truck figured out, pointed back in the right direction, and unfortunately just that extra little help turning him around and puts him up into the outside fence. So an early caution flag here this afternoon. Let's take a look here as you make that little contact right there. There's Grube, comes up the track into the 64 Ryan Turbeville. You see the flames coming out of the rear end there. He's trying to get the handle of this car, and Nathaniel Ostrowiecki comes in there, gets a big piece of his back bumper, not expecting him to be checked up that much down the back straightaway, and unfortunately makes some solid contact there into the rear end, shoves him up the speedway, and the Klondike ride hard up into the outside fence early on, getting some damage here in this one, but lots of time to recover, lots of time to try to rebound and work yourself back into the battle here this evening. As Alex Pelican out in front, Nicholas Snyder there in second, Mark Beverly up and into third. Brandon Domingue hangs on to fourth as Chris Gilbert early on in this race is falling back 3 spots out there on the racetrack, and Gilbert now into position number 5 out there on the speedway. Tyson Pankow, John Herbert, Jason LePan, Brad Lane, and Zach Michael rounding out our top 10 here. So restarts are going to be playing a pivotal role in this race this afternoon. Drivers are really going to have to be on top of their game, trying to lay down good laps out there on the speedway, not trying to put themselves into a bad situation there on the racetrack, because we do see that 23 ride. That's Kevin Woody in that McDonald's. I'm loving it. 23 ride. Now, he missed the start of this race, had to start down on pit road, and unfortunately, he is scored as technically a lap down behind that pace truck, but looking to get the wave around, looking to try to get back to the rear of the field here, see if he can battle back up towards the front of the pack here this evening. As Tower Operator says, good evening, how are you, Bruce? How you doing this afternoon? Also coming in with the hashtag Winker Nation there on YouTube. Sean Arita also coming in with the hashtag Winker Nation here this evening, as well as, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is going to get a lot of fun. This is going to get very, very intense in a quick hurry as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. Edward Koshersberger, one of our drivers out there on the speedway in that beautiful number 19 ride. The Tech Warrior Machine back there in 24th comes into the chat, says, great coverage as usual. Thanks for all you do, sir. Absolutely my pleasure, Edward, and hoping to see that 19 ride have another good run here this afternoon. As Dimitri Curtis says, let's go, baby, let's go. Dimitri coming in, showing the love here in this one, as Janelle says, let's go HP Motorsports, hashtag Ridge Power Sports, and hashtag KR Gutters. Huge shout out right there to two of our other amazing sponsors here this afternoon, KR Gutters and Ridge Power Sports, huge supporters and huge help making this league possible year after year after year. So we can't shout them out enough. Can't shout out all of our amazing sponsors enough. As you see them down in that bottom right-hand corner, you can really take a look at all the amazing people and the amazing companies and everything else that help make this series go and help make the racing action possible here this evening. As we'll get them all ready to go back to battle. Alex Pelican, our race leader down through the Geico restart zone. We'll see that green flag fly once again here in Iowa as he quickly gets back onto the loud pedal. The Buckies. Celsius 16 Ryan leads us back down into corner number 1. Nice and easy through that first set of corners and takes us down the back straightaway as Nicholas Snyder tries to hunt him down. Chris Gilbert door to door here with Brandon Deming as that outside lane just never seems to really get the fire off that it's hoping for. Seems like that inside lane definitely the place to be for these restarts. See John Herbert and his Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters right now up inside the top 7. He started to move his way towards the front of the field here. Brad Lane a little farther back now inside the top 10. Out there on the racetrack as Josh Ely slides to position number 11. Gustafson right there in that 12th position. And we see Brian Chu back there. Chu in that beautiful TRD Tundra, that Toyota Tundra Pro, number 51, back in 14th. He's up 4 spots early on here. Joshua Ledoux moving forward as well. That 38 ride, the Dirt Track Junkies machine, up 6 spots, rolls there in position number 16. Then we see Tim Blankenbeckler. Tim having a good run here in that Friends for Pets, the Juke joint number 10 machine, as he's up a few spots early on and finds himself there in that 17th position. Robert Howard, he's up 9 spots here right now. Our Hard Charger out there on the racetrack sits in that 18th position as we do see a couple more drivers have to make their way down pit side. Here comes that OSUCOutdoors.com number 26, the Friends for Pets, the Juke joint 26 ride of Neil Lampin is making an early stop down pit side here, and same with that Klondike number 64 ride of Cal Turbovale back down pit road here as well. So heartbreaker for both those drivers making their way down pit side early in this race, as it looks like a pass-through penalty there for the 26. He will fall a lap down out there on the racetrack, but good break for him, as I do believe the caution flag would have come back out. So the caution flag going to fly here once again, and now he is in prime position to get this wave around, to get back onto the lead lap. And I do believe, not sure where we see this caution flag fly, who ends up running into some issues. Maybe Rob McDonald here in the other Juke joint ride. And the 50, heavy contact right there. Oh man, the 19 rider Ed Kochersberger goes around right there as well. Hopefully not too much damage there for him. Let's take a look here and see what happens as that 50 rider just sliding down the racetrack here. Maybe a little help, maybe a little contact early on, but maybe just looks like he's losing that rear end here. Looks like the rear end kind of steps out around on him there. He's trying to stay out of the 14 ride and unfortunately just loses the handle, trying to correct it, washes back up the racetrack, and unfortunately for Rob McDonald, Trench has nowhere to go, slams right into him. Heavy hit right there for that 50 right, heavy hit for the 31 machine, and unfortunately both those drivers going to be down pit side looking to get some repairs here. Here you'll see the 23 just on the throttle here as the 19 right. He sees that truck spin and sees that there's a caution flag about to come out for the Tech Warrior ride. He just rolls out of the throttle. Unfortunately, this gets ran into right there. That is something that we see time and time again here at the short track racing style of a speedway, is that drivers will just unfortunately get into you and turn you around there, as they won't see that caution flag as quickly as you will. But let's take a look here. On board with Rob McDonald. Is McDonald just going to be rolling back here? He's a little deeper in the field, trying to keep his truck clean, just trying to have a good race out there on the speedway. And all of a sudden, he's going to see this 50 ride shoot down the racetrack, thinking he could get up and around him. And unfortunately, the 50 is just going to come right back up the speedway and into his lap here. Just make the wrong choice. If he would have stayed to the wall, probably would have avoided it, probably would have stayed clean and out of that, but unfortunately aimed for the middle, expecting the 50 to potentially come right back up into the wall and not get stopped there in the middle of the racetrack. And that's a pretty good hit right there for Rob McDonald. You'll have to try to get that truck repaired. You do see Ed Kochersberger, he's down pit road. Same with Rob McDonald trying to get the Juke joint machine fixed back up and back out there under the speedway. We also see that 69 ride, the HCK Beagles machine of Gregory Turner. He's down on pit road getting his truck repaired. He's had some front end damage. And for that 64 of Cal Turbovale, looks like that truck for the most part back into one piece, looking pretty good and solid out there on the speedway. Unfortunately, He's still down pit side, but here we go. He is going to roll back out there onto the racetrack. So good to see him not giving up all the afternoon, continuing to fight, continue to battle here, and looks like he's going to roll back out there onto the racetrack. As Dimitri says, man, I feel you on that one, brother. That was definitely a tough hit right there. Definitely a bad hit for that 31 machine. As the Juke joint coming in with that share on the stream. Frets for Pets also coming in with that share here this afternoon as well. And Dimitri Curtis, my boy Dimitri, coming in showing the love over there on Facebook as well, dropping that share on the broadcast. I appreciate that, fellas, coming in showing the love here in this one. As Victory 167. You have a nice channel, though. What game is this, man? This is iRacing, Victory. This is iRacing, and let me guess, this account's been created for a little while. Good, Victory. How are you, brother? Coming in, showing the love here in this one as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here in just a couple more moments. As Alex Pelican out in front, Pelican leading the way here in this one. Couple early caution flags, definitely throwing a wrench into some of these drivers and what they're thinking out there on the speedway when it comes to their fuel strategy or their tire strategy out there on the racetrack. Definitely going to be making those calculators work a little harder out there on the speedway, trying to make sure that they make their right adjustments, right decisions. Is one simple mistake, one bad move down pit road, coming down a little too earlier, staying out there a little too long, could potentially take you out of the chances of winning this race this afternoon, as one simple mistake could potentially end your night here in Iowa. Here we go, back to Green Flag Racing as the Bucky 16 Alex Pelican back onto the lap pedal. Pelican looking to try to open up that lead, but a beautiful crossover right there for Nicholas Snyder. Snyder now down to his inside as they look to drag race down the back straightaway, but that outside momentum going to pay off there for Pelican as he'll stay out in front. We saw Alex leading virtually majority of our race last week from the street course in Chicago. He was looking primed and ready to pick up the checker flag there. Unfortunately, late in the race, a hard charging number 18 machine came up out of nowhere and took that win away from him, and Jacob Group ended up finding victory lane in the 16. Alex Pelican had to settle in for second. Here tonight, though, he's looking to flip the script and looking to try to put himself up and into victory lane and keep all these drivers back there behind him. Is Rob, brother, that's a tough one, my boy. Says, well, sometimes it goes your way and sometimes you're a magnet. Yeah, unfortunately, a bit of a magnet out there in that one, brother. That was definitely a tough break for you. Heartbreaker out there on the racetrack. Is this 16 ride? He's looking pretty set up, man. He's looking pretty fresh and fast out there on the speedways. We did see Kevin Woody running into some problems here. Woody down on the apron here. Looks like he's trying to get his 23 truck down pit side, and he's just going to stay down on the apron right here. He's going to go down into the grass, but able to keep that truck rolling, and then he comes to a stop there on the front straightaway and takes that truck down pit side here. So a tough break there for that number 23 machine. A slew of issues early on in this race, and we do find him still down pit side here off of the racetrack. Kyle Van Tassel, he's also making a green flag pit stop here as he comes down pit side as the caution flag will come back out. This time looks like Mark Beverly going to run into some problems. Beverly in that SEVR, the serve number 3 machine, up and into the outside fence. Let's take a look back and see what happens and what brings out our third caution flag for that number 3 truck out there on the speedway. He does move off the racetrack here just in front of John Herbert. Herbert looks down to his inside. They're just going to make a little contact right there. I don't know if that was contact or if that was netco. Nonetheless, that 3 ride goes around. Hard contact up into the outside fence, and a big hit right there for that 3 machine. As let's take a look here at the Asheville Outlaws ride and what happens to him here. How this started, how this got out of hand down there into corner number 1 for him as he rolls down out of corner number 4, gets a decent run, slides up the racetrack here. He's got about half a truck length between him and the 87. John Herbert sends it in there, and yeah, right there. There's here we're going to see the contact now. Virtually, you don't see the contact, but he's just so close to him that I think contact was going to happen regardless. I think iRacing and the netcode just kind of helped that out a little bit more right there, and unfortunately just kind of gets into that left rear quarter panel. The 3 Ryan knocks his rear end loose, and around he goes, slides up and into that outside fence. Heavy hit there to that back end for that 13 machine. He's going to go down pit side and look to get some extensive repairs made. Same with Rob McDonald, who's still down pit side trying to get his truck fixed up. Gregory Turner down there as well, as we did see Kevin Woody unfortunately take his truck off the racetrack. Kyle Van Tassel, who was down pit road in that Ridge number 13, that Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters ride, did make his way down pit side there during the green flag conditions, and now we will see that going around the field, and that is going to put him back onto the lead lap. So a good break there for Neil Lapidus and the Osaka Outdoors ride, as he's able to get that car fixed up and ready to go back to green flag racing. As Tower Operator says hi, Liam, cheering on Liam and all these drivers and everybody here in the chat. We appreciate comment on the live stream. Helps push it out to more and more people. Helps bring in a bigger crowd and making more and more people want to hang out, celebrate, and have some fun with us here this afternoon. As no data, the stream will end shortly. What in the world? Did YouTube just cut out? Did we just? Oh no. Okay, there it is. I don't know what the heck that was all about. Hopefully it's not spitting and sputtering over there on YouTube for you guys. I don't know what that was. Hopefully it's clean and green for you. Hopefully we don't see any connection issues or anything. It just popped up there. Yeah, what in the world? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. What in the world are you talking about, brother? Oh no, is Streamlabs or is YouTube having some issues again here, ladies and gentlemen? Facebook looks fine. Twitch looks fine. Actually, Facebook doesn't look fine. Facebook kind of looks like it dropped there for a hot second as well. What in the world is happening? My internet's fine. He is one of our employees. Conned him into watching. Oh no! Oh, Bruce, you conned him into watching. Hey, listen, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Con in the entire team right now. Con the entire team into watching. Get them in here, okay? This is your show, brother. This is your show. This is the Iowa 167, where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes here this afternoon, and that's what we like to see. That's what we want to see out there on there. Is Dimitri says, good on my end on YouTube. Okay, perfect. That's all I want to make sure. I just want to make sure that everything's running smoothly. I don't understand why we were getting a couple pop-ups there that things weren't running smoothly over there on YouTube, but it looks like things are fine. Looks like things are good, and we are staying good here, and we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing, which is another good thing. As here we go, back to battle, as out in front it is that number 16 Machina, Alex Pelican. Pelican out in front, trying to hold off Nicholas Snyder, John Herbert, Brandon DeMang, and the rest of this field, as Herbert right there in position number 3 now, looking to try to get that HP Motorsports, that KR Gutters ride up to the front of the field, as Chris Gilbert right there, Jason LePan and his Tech Warrior number 20 ride right there, looking to have a great run, a strong run out there on the speedway, as he's got Richard Bradshaw, his face on the side of that truck. So huge shout out there to Richard Bradshaw right on board here with the Tech Warrior rides this afternoon, as some great racing action back underway here at Iowa. As out in front, Alex Pelican continue to lead the way, looking to be that reflection of perfection here this afternoon. Last week he was oh so close to being that reflection of perfection. Looked like he was going to run away with it and pick up an easy win there at the street course in Chicago. Unfortunately fell about 7 laps shy, as that 18 ride took the win away from him. We'll see if it's a turn of the tables this afternoon, see if he can put that 16 up and into victory lane, as Nicholas Snyder there in second. Then we see Brandon DeMang back up into third, as he's worked himself around that Ridge Power Sports 87 ride of John Herbert. Chris Gilbert now looking down to his inside, as here comes Jason LePan and Brad Lane. Lane up 4 spots early in this race as the race line number 1 machine rolls there in 7th. Zach Michael back there in position number 8, and that Rush truck centers 34. Josh Ely in that beautiful Dirt Track Junkies 83 ride, battling back here with his teammate, as him and the 91, a pair of Dirt Track Junkie rides there on the racetrack, as Josh Ely and Tyson Pankow look to navigate their way up to the front of the field. Brian Chu up 7 spots early in this race, as his Toyota Tundra rolls there in 11th. Nathaniel Ostrowski right there behind him in that 12th spot on the speedway. Austin Gustafson, the Underdog Fantasy Spotify number 71 ride rolls there in position number 13. And now if I was a regular everyday YouTuber, I'd be going on about Underdog right now. And if you guys go to Underdog right now, you can use our code and save so much and get a free pick over there on our next NASCAR race. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just messing with you. We got no sponsors here. We got no in real life YouTube sponsors here. So you guys don't have to worry about that one. As Austin Gustafson out in front, lead the way. Nick Gardner there in 14th. William Klein back there in that 15th position. Another one of those Dirt Track Junkie rides there in 15th, and another one back in 16th, as that is Joshua Ledoux, one of the other Triple J Dirt Track Junkie rides out there on the speedway in the 38, trying to hang on to 16th here as Jacob Grube down to his inside. Grube, last week's winner of that Pop Smoke 22, number 18 ride, rolling right there in that 17th spot, now looking for 16th as he makes the move around Joshua Ledoux. Ledoux will fall back another spot as here comes John McCulloch. McCulloch right there as well in the Pump Smoke 21 machine out there on the speedway. Ryan Peterson back there as well, his beautiful Ridge Power Sports 469. Ryan K. Dump, Kevin Winker now rounding out our top 20. Is that Muehlberger Custom Homes, the Winker Nation Sonic Graphic Design Truck, rolling right there just inside our top 20 out there on the racetrack. Robert Howard there in 21st with a 24 ride of Stephen Hines right there to his inside. Hines gets a little bit loose out of car number 4 right there. Luckily enough, catches that ride, keeps it pointed in the right direction. He is going to lose a spot there to Ed Koshersberger and potentially another one to the Friends for Pets, the Juke Joint LLR number 10 ride of Tim Blankenbeckler. As they battle back there for 23rd and 24th, we do see Neil Lapidus right there. Lapidus up and into 25th, back onto the lead lap here, so a good break there for his OSOCOutdoors.com number 26, as he had to make an early pass-through penalty and able to keep on rocking and rolling out there on the speedways. Rob says, 2:30 until I'm back. 1 minute. Got to go. Let's go, brother. Get out there. Do what you need to do, my boy. Have some fun and enjoy some more racing action. Even though you're multiple laps down, man, we love the commitment and love the battling out there. Not giving up out there on the speedway, even being, multiple laps down. Just sticking with it, seeing what you can get, and see if you can steal a couple spots here, maybe late in this race. As you do see that 3 truck, Mark Ramberly, who just got tied up in that last caution flag, still heavy back end damage there to that 3 machine. He is still rolling out there on the speedway, unfortunately losing a lot of time. He's still on the lead lap, but he's about 13 seconds back of our race leader is Kyle Van Tassel, Cal Turbeville, Kevin Woody, and Rob McDonald rounding out our field here this afternoon. Gregory Turner actually there at the back of the pack in that 31st position down pit side. We normally see him up in the admin booth, making sure that these drivers stay clean and green out there. It was good to see Gregory jump out, have some fun for a few laps there on the racetrack. As Alex Pelican, Nicholas Snyder, Brandon Domingue, Chris Gilbert, and John Herbert round out our top 5 out there on the racetrack. As Liam Solt, hopefully I'm saying that right. Liam coming in, show the love, says, thanks for the shout out. Muehlberger Custom Homes is a reliable builder and we take pride in our quality work. Come check us out in Southwest Michigan. Let's go Southwest Michigan there for the Muehlberger Custom Homes crew. And we can't thank Bruce Muehlberger and the entire Muehlberger Custom Homes family for being a part of the HCK Beagles and being a part of the show here this afternoon, as this one is all powered by Bruce Muehlberger and the Muehlberger Custom Homes team here this afternoon, as this is the Iowa 167 where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes. And so far it's been a bit of a wild race here. We saw a few early caution flags, a few issues out there on the speedway, but now we kind of get into an issue here where we're starting to run into a longer green flag run here. Drivers really starting to pound down these laps and definitely starting to wear their tires out, and fuel mileage starting to become an issue out there on the racetrack, as we can see Cal Turbeville unfortunately run into some more issues here. Watch this Klondike 64 ride right in behind Kevin Winker in that 42 ride, and he goes down onto the lawn here, and unfortunately does a little landscaping out there in Iowa. I don't know if the track crew, their maintenance crew, is going to be very happy about that. Definitely going to be some weird lines there with those tire streaks down through the middle of it, but nonetheless, he gets that truck put back in the right direction. Very minimal damage and able to keep on rolling out there on the speedway. He got tied up in that first caution flag, trying to get that truck repaired and back out there. We're hoping to see a few more caution flags and potentially be able to get back onto the lead lap here this afternoon if we see a slew of yellow flags be thrown. As Alex Pelican out in front, the gap is almost 1 second between himself and Nicholas Snyder. As Snyder rolls there in position number 2, he's got about 1.7 seconds back to this number 77 ride of Brandon Domingue. So our top 3 starting to really get separated there on the speedway. Chris Gilbert, he's back another second behind our 3rd place driver, Brandon Domingue, about 4 seconds back of our race leader here in that 4th position. And Brad Lane, a few car lengths back there behind him, now inside the top 5 though. So Lane continues to work his way towards the front of the field here, having a great race early on, up 6 positions, sort of back in 11th, now finds himself up inside the top 5 after getting around that number 87 machine of John Herbert. As you do see these drivers continue to duke it out, continue to battle out there on the speedway. It's still Alex Pelican leading the way here this afternoon as Tyson Pankow trying to race his way up into the front of the field. And now we do see some more issues a little deeper in the pack here as, oh no, oh, could be worse here. Oh, you see the 18 ride down into the inside fence. Jacob Grube off the racetrack. Hard contact into that inside wall. Luckily enough, he's able to keep on rolling here. So far, not got a lap down, but he is very, very close to going a lap down. Now with that damage on that 18 machine, definitely hurting his chances this afternoon. Let's take a look at it. They're 3 wide back here. This is just outside our top 10. That's the 71 machine of Austin Gustafson there to the outside. The 18 of Jacob Grube in the middle, and the 20 of Jason LePan down the inside. And you're going to see him just get, oh, looks like he's going to get tagged there. A pair of teammates. The Pop Smoke Tech Warrior Ryan's going to make some contact right there, as unfortunately Jason LePan just gets loose, washes up the racetrack here right into the left rear quarter panel of that 18 machine. Both drivers going to go for a bit of a slide down the racetrack off the racing surface here, and some pretty good contact there for the 20, pretty good contact, solid contact for the 18 ride as well, and unfortunately it gets even worse here for Jacob Grube as he slides down through the grass and then ends up into the inside fence as well, so even more damage there for that 18 ride. No caution flag either, so that's definitely going to hurt their odds this afternoon as he still rolls out there on the speedway back in the 26th position, still on the lead lap, but our race leader is not too far away from him. There's Alex Pelican on that same spot. That same one right there is, you got it spot on. Salt, yeah, okay, salt. I thought so. At first I read it wrong. The L was in the wrong spot. And I was like, wait, can I say that online? I don't think I can, but I had to quickly reread that. Normally my mind is reading stuff so quickly that you almost got me on the last name there, Liam. That's for certain. But luckily enough, I had to do a double look, a double take right there. Make sure that my brain didn't automatically put that L in front of the U right there, because it might have came out. It was going to come out if I didn't take another look at it. But I was like, there's no way that's his last name. I got to take another look at it. It's Alex Pelican out in front. He's not taking another look at the rear of the field here as he wants to just keep on working himself through the traffic and start to put some of these drivers a lap down out there on the speedway. Snyder back there in position number 2. His name says, get it all the time. I can imagine, my boy. I can imagine, that's for certain. As Pelican, Snyder 1 and 2, Brandon Domingue back there in 3rd. Brad Lane has now worked himself up and into 4th as Chris Gilbert slides back into position number 5 and now on the move. Starting to work his way towards the front of the field as Josh Ely up and into position number 6 as Zach Michael, Tyson Pankow, Austin Gustafson now into 9th, and Brian Chu rounding out our top 10 as we did see a couple drivers head down pit side here. So potentially time for some green flag pit stops. Jason LePan comes down pit side. We do see that 21 rider John McCulloch down pit road. The 50 of Robert Howard also down pit side. And here we go. We're going to see even more drivers start to head down pit lane. Here comes Josh Ely, the 77 rider Brandon Domingue, and a whole group of drivers all coming down pit side here. So green flag pit stops underway this afternoon. Everybody starting to head down pit side, and now we see our race leader also down on pit road as well. Alex Pelican, Nicholas Snyder, Brandon Ming all coming down pit road here. Everyone getting some work done to their race cars as, no caution flag, green flag pit stops here for these competitors, and that's really going to make things interesting in a quick hurry out there on the speedway, trying to figure out where you need to be or what you need to do. And if you make a mistake down on pit road, if you have a problem, it could put you at the back of the field in a quick hurry. As we do see Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, he was staying out there for an extra lap, was able to lead a lap as we see that 20 ride coming back down pit side here. Oh no, that's a heartbreaker. You do see Jason LePan, you see John McCulloch, they're headed back down pit side here themselves and potentially serving penalties down on pit road. Jacob Grube was down pit side here himself, rolling back out there onto the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if any other drivers run into problems. You do see Chris Gilbert still rolling back out there onto the racetrack, and Tyson Pankow as the caution flag is going to fly. Yellow flag out there on the speedway. Now this is really going to mix things up. K-Dub Kevin Winker may have hit that pit strategy absolutely perfect here this evening as he stayed out there longer than everybody else, and with that caution flag he has now scored our race leader. Ryan Peterson, Stephen Hines, Ed Koshersberger all able to stay out right there, trapping a lot of these other drivers a lap down out there on the speedway. They're going to have to take a wave around here. Now they're going to lose a little bit of track position, but this is going to cycle Kevin Winker, Peterson, Hines, Koshersberger, and Mark Beverly up to the front of the field here. Beverly, even with that heavily damaged number 3 machine, now rolls in that 5th position. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki down pit side here. He's going to roll back out in that 6th position on the speedway as we do see Ryan Peterson going to come down pit road. Same with Stephen Hines, Ed Koshersberger as Kevin Winker. K-Dub stays out right here. Kevin Winker risking it for the brisket here this afternoon. This is going to trap a lot of drivers a lap down out there on the speedway. I do believe it's going to give Alex Pelican, who was our race leader, the wave around, the lucky dog, the free pass back onto the lead lap. And when we go back to green flag racing without Kevin Winker coming down pit side, we're going to have about 7 cars left on the lead lap here. So that one single green flag pit stop may have just changed the game here for everybody. As now a lot of these drivers, they're not going to be racing for the race lead. They're not going to be racing really for position. They're going to be racing to try and get that lucky dog, that free pass out there on the speedway to try to put themselves back onto the lead lap. And K-Dub just, I don't know if he's taking one for the team staying out here or not, but nonetheless, he's hoping that this strategy is going to work out for him. Maybe give him an extra set of tires late in this race to work to his advantage and maybe put himself into victory lane. As Liam, my boy Liam coming in as well, hitting that subscribe button over there on YouTube, becoming a brand new member of the Peacemaker family. Liam, we can't thank you enough for coming in, smashing that sub button, becoming a part of the Peacemaker family here today. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys can do the exact same thing right now. If you guys are enjoying the racing, if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you guys hit that sub button, hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button if you're watching over on Facebook or over on Twitch. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. And make sure you guys do us a favor as well. Hit that like button on the stream. It takes 2 seconds. Hit that like button. We got over 25 viewers right now watching, tuning in over there on YouTube. We only got 5 likes on the stream there on the YouTube stream. And we can easily hit 10, 15 right now. Even if half of you guys hit that like button right now, we should be able to hit that 15 likes on the broadcast right now. So make sure you guys do that for us. Help us out a lot here. Drop those comments. Hit that like button. Become part of the family. And get ready to go back to battle. Get ready to see these drivers duke it out here once again, go to work, and see who can put themselves up and into victory lane. As this is going to really make things interesting here. Kevin Winker, this is going to be a huge strategy move for him right now. This is going to be a giant strategy call, staying out there on the racetrack, kind of trapping all these drivers back there behind him, as Ryan Peterson will now be scored as our 2nd place driver. And Koshersberger in that Tech Warrior number 19 ride scored there in 3rd. Mark Beverly scored in position number 4. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki scored back there in the 5th position with Stephen Hines and Alex Pelican, our top 7 out there on the speedway. Nicholas Snyder, a lap down, scored back there in position number 8. And right right now is a lap down out there on the speedway. Now for Kevin Winker, he's got to hope that either they see another caution flag here in the first couple laps going back to green flag racing, or he'll get a trip and an opportunity to come down pit side, but still lock a lot of these drivers back there a lap down, or just trying to maybe see if this can run it out, maybe help him out, save an extra set of tires for late in this race. Is down through the Geico restart zone. He does get a great launch and a great restart there in that 42 truck. Now, he was down pit road on lap 21, so he's got a little bit longer that he can roll out there on the speedway. Probably another 10 or 15 laps before I think his hand is going to be forced to have to come down pit road here this evening as he watches up the racetrack. The fresher tires down low, going to roll right on and around him as there goes Ryan Peterson to the points of the HCK Beagles Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters 469 rider Ryan Peterson now leads this race. Peterson out in front. Winker in that Muehlberger Custom Homes 42 truck rolls there in that second position with Ed Koshersberger there in position number 3. Mark Beverly back there in fourth. You do see that excuse me there. You do see that number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder racing his way through our top 5 right now. This 5 ride is trying to hunt down our race leader here, seeing if he can try to race his way back onto the lead lap. If he can jump up and make the move around this 469 and put himself a lap back onto the board here, then that could really help him out. That could definitely help him out and help another fellow driver back there out as well, is that would move Nicholas Snyder back onto the lead lap, but it would give the lucky dog to one of these drivers that is back there behind him. And right now that's Brandon Domingue. Domingue rolls back there in 9th. A lap down the 34 ride of Zach Michael. He's a lap down as well. There in 10th, Austin Gustafson, Josh Ely, Brad Lane, John Herbert, Chris Gilbert, Brian Juke, Joshua Ledoux. Pretty much 80% of our field a lap down out there on the speedway, all hoping to see a couple more caution flags, hoping to see if they can get some wave arounds and hopefully trying to get themselves back into the battle here, back into contention here this evening, including drivers like Tyson Pankow and Nick Gardner back there in that 27 Celsius ride. Brian Chusuck back there in the 20th position. Neil Lappin and Jacob Krug also a lap down out there. Tim Blankenbackler back there in 23rd. He's now 2 laps down. Same with Robert Howard. John McCulloch a couple laps down. Kyle Van Tassel, Jason LePan, Cal Turbeville, Robert McDonald, and Kevin Woody rounding out our top 30 there on the speedway. As you do see that Juke joined Frets for Pence, number 31, rolling back out there on the speedway. As Ryan Peterson out in front. Peterson continuing to lead the way, but right there behind him is that 5 rider Nicholas Snyder. Snyder looking to try to put himself back onto the lead lap. Same with Brandon Domingue as he's now cleared of everyone else inside our top 5 and now looking to try to hunt down our race leader. Same with Zach Michael. Here comes Austin Gustafson and that 83 of Josh Ely as well. The 1 of Brad Lane back there in 13th, and then you see John Herbert, Chris Gilbert, the number 19 ride of Ed Koshersberger back there. Koshersberger rolling in position number 2 on the speedway. He's now 3 seconds behind our race leader, but there's about 10 drivers in between them here on the racetrack as Ryan Peterson continuing to lead the way, continue to hold these drivers back there and keep them a lap down, and everyone else trying to hunt him down to not even just get their lap back, but also trying to hunt him down for the race lead as Alex Pelican a little deeper in the field here. He did come down pit road before that caution flank. He was our race leader for the first 50-plus laps of this race, and then that pit strategy unfortunately hurt him there as well. Had to take that wave around. The lucky dog got back onto the lead lap, and he's worked himself back into that 5th position, but unfortunately taking that wave around, had to start at the rear of the field and now has to try to work himself up and through all these drivers here on the racetrack, as right now he's about to make the move around the number 14 rider, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. Now Ostrowiecki, he is scored in position number 4, so this is a battle for position. The 88 ride right there, that's Will Klein. Klein back there in 18th, so he's still got about 20 trucks or better between himself and our race leader, Ryan Peterson. As Peterson has seen that 5 truck of Nicholas Snyder go back around him, so Snyder back onto the lead lap here himself. Now here comes that 77 of Brandon Domingue. Domingue looking to put himself back onto the lead lap as we get another good long green flag run, and that's good for a lot of these other drivers, but for another driver named Kevin Winker, That's not what he wants to see out there on the speedway. K-Dub hoping to see that yellow flag come out here, as he's very shortly going to have to make a trip down pit side and potentially could go a lap or two down himself here on this different pit strategy. He has fallen back a ways from our race leaders, about 9 seconds between himself and Ryan Peterson. And unfortunately for that 42 truck, he is on pretty old tires, on pretty old fuel right now. Could definitely use that caution flag and potentially use a fresh set of tires and some fuel and see where that could size him up here with everybody else. And having that extra set back there behind pit wall could help him out late in this race, but he wants to stay on that lead lap, needs to stay on that lead lap for that to kind of work out for him. As you see Ryan Peterson, our race leader, still battling here with the lap traffic, is unfortunately for Brandon DeMing, one of those drivers that was up inside the top 5 there, now in position number 9. And here we go, K-Dub, Kevin Winker couldn't wait any longer. The Muehlberger Custom Homes number 42 heads down pit side. So Winker Nation, cheer a driver on, hope that this is a good quick pit stop and they can get him back out there onto the speedway in quick fashion. But unfortunately for Kevin Winker, he has now been lapped. There goes our race leader, Ryan Peterson. So for K-Dub, he is now a lap down. Definitely not the spot he wants to be in, but definitely threw a wrench into everything here this evening by staying out there on the racetrack and really mixing things up. Normally you see all those drivers that would have came down pit side. All these drivers that are a lap down right now would have probably gotten the wave around, been back on the lead lap. They would have just been at the front of the field with fresh tires, like you see in this 469 ride or Ryan Peterson right now. But staying out there, trapping them a lap down, definitely hurt them, and unfortunately not getting a quick caution flag definitely hurt himself here tonight, as well as that's now going to put him 2 laps down as he rolls back out onto the racetrack. He is scored back in 21st, and he is scored as a 2-lap down driver right now, man. That is definitely not a spot you want to be, but he does have fresher tires than pretty much everybody else out there on the racetrack by about 20 laps or so. So he should be able to carry quite a bit more pace, should be able to make some moves and potentially put himself at least back to 1 lap down as our race leader, not too far in front of him here. And if he can race his way back to at least 1 lap down, could get a wave around himself, could get a lucky dog himself, and back into the hunt here this afternoon, as each and every one of these dogs battling out there this afternoon. It is a dog fight here in Iowa, as it is the Iowa 167 where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes. As the Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters 469 rider Ryan Peterson continues to lead the way. Ed Koschersberger in that Tech Warrior number 19 ride back there in position number 2. And then you see Alex Pelican now into position number 3 there in that Bucky's Celsius number 16 machine, as he rolls there in that 3rd position. The KTM ready to race 14 of Nathaniel Ostrowiecki there in 4th. Mark Beverly back there in that serve. Beautiful Asheville Outlaws HCK Beagles number 3 truck there in 5th. Stephen Hines back there in 6th. Hines having a great run in that Black Rifle Coffee Company number 24 ride, as Nicholas Snyder back there in 7th. That Snyder buys Racing number 5 ride rolling there in that 7th position. Brandon DeMing in the Ghost Energy number 8 machine there, as well as you do see K-Dub Kevin Winker. He's been able to make some quick work of a few of these drivers, and that's going to put him back to 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. So that's a great break there for that number 42 truck, as at least now he's back to 1 lap down. He's using those fresh tires to his advantage as he rolls right on around the 77. Our race leader and that number 5 ride there, as Nicholas Snyder going to fall in behind him here now. He's still got those fresher tires for quite a while. Can he have enough time and enough tires and enough pace to maybe race his way back onto the lead lap before we see another caution flag, or before we see another slew of green flag pit stops out there on the speedway? Anything can happen, as it's going to come right down to the wire here in this one, as Ryan Peterson continues to lead the way here, and it's now Alex Pelican back up into 2nd year. Had to restart at the back of the pack after getting the lucky dog. Here he is back up into position number 2. Has about 3.6 seconds between himself and Ryan Peterson. So he's going to look to try to hunt down that 469 ride, put himself back at the front of the field here, as Ed Koschersberger Ashersberger back there in third. Then we see Nathaniel Ostrowiski, Mark Beverly there in fifth, as all these drivers, everyone kind of on a whole different strategy now, whole different game plan out there on the speedway after that last caution flag, after kind of breaking up the middle of those green flag pit stops and trapping virtually 80% of our field back there a lap down or multiple laps down out on the racetrack. Really hurt these drivers, and now everyone's just trying to figure out a way to, one, either race their way back up and around this 469 to put themselves back onto the lead lap, but not a lot of drivers have been able to do that. Only Snyder and Brandon Deming were able to race their way back onto the lead lap here. Josh Ely sits back there in position number 9. Now he is the first driver 1 lap down. He's in that free pass position here and potentially could race his way back up there and put himself back on the lead lap, but has to close that gap and get around that 469 ride, which is no easy task, as the one of Brad Lane, Zach Michael, Austin Gustafson, Chris Gilbert, Tyson Pankow, John Herbert, Joshua Ledoux, Brian Chu, William Klein, Nick Gardner, Neil Lapidus, Kevin Winker, all 1 lap down out there on the speedway. Jacob Group finds himself 2 laps down out there on the racetrack in that Pop Smoke 22. Number 18 ride, Tim Blankenbeckler in that Friends for Pets, the Juke joint ride. He's a couple laps down, scored back in 23rd. Robert Howard, a couple laps down in that Innovate Physical Therapy number 50 ride, rolls there in 24th. Then we see John McCullich in his Pop Smoke 22, number 21 truck out there. McCullich rolls in 25th on the speedway, a few laps down himself. Kyle Van Tassel in that Ridge Power Sports AMS Oil number 13 ride, a couple laps down, scored back in 26th. And staying with the Tech Warrior 20 ride of Jason LePan. Cal Tuberville still rolling out there on the racetrack, one of those first drivers to go around here this afternoon. The Klondike 64 ride, a handful of laps down, but back there in 28th, still battling here. And same with that Juke joint, Friends for Pets number 31 of Rob McDonald. As Trench back there in 29th. Then we see Kevin Woody and Gregory Turner rounding out our 31 truck field here this evening. Some great racing action. Everyone still trying to hunt down this 469 ride as Ryan Peterson is out in front, continue to lead the way, trying to keep these drivers back there behind him and back in bay, as Josh Ely trying to put the pressure on him, trying to put himself back onto the lead lap here this evening as he looks down low underneath that 469 ride. We did see Alex Pelican jump up into second, and he hadn't closed that gap to about 3.5 seconds, but now has fallen back to just over 4.5 seconds between himself and Ryan Peterson. So Peterson not only hanging on to that race lead, but also still pulling away from this 16 ride. So Pelican's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to try to hunt down our race leader and see if he can make a move to get back to the front of the field, as now they're battling door to door. This is a battle for position number 9. Behind our race leader is Josh Ely in that one machine of Brad Lane, side by side, both looking to try to race their way onto the lead lap, for battling back here behind the race leader for that lucky dog out there on the speedway. And some great racing action is my boy Craig Michael Deacon. What's good, Craiger? Craiger coming in, showing the love with that like on the stream. How are you, Craig? How are you, Mr. Deacon? Showing the love over there on Facebook. His ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. As man, that is a ton of fun. This is a lot of great action, great racing out there on the speedway. These guys, they're not backing down. They don't want to stop at all. They want to see this continue on clean and green, and that's exactly what we see as we're over halfway in and halfway to go here in this race. It is down to about, 77 laps of racing action left here this afternoon from Iowa in the Iowa 167. It is the Where Does the Corn Grow, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes here this afternoon, and we're going to jump into a Peacemaker Gaming / Muehlberger Custom Homes crank it up here this evening. So crank up that volume, cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Caution on the racetrack. Caution out there on the speedway. Couple of drivers there on the front straightaway getting time together. You saw our race leader there, Alex Pelican, have to make his way down pit side to avoid some of that contact, some of those issues right there. Unfortunately, a couple other drivers not so lucky out there on the speedway. As I do believe we're going to see the 83 machine. I do believe that was the 83 ride of, let me take a look here. Where are we? Where is that 83? There's Josh Ely. So watch Ely here. Ely coming down through the corner. Someone's already spun around. Oh, it's Nick Gardner again. Turned around here at a corner number 4. Let's take a look and take a little sight and see here. See what happens to this 27. So Nick Gardner's already ran into a couple issues here this afternoon. Unfortunately for that 27, rear end just kind of kicks out. He tries to correct it. Slams up into the outside fence. Nowhere to go for Austin Gustafson, nowhere to go for Josh Ely as they slam into him here. Our race leader down low, able to just squeeze by there and stay out of it as he does some landscaping here in Iowa himself. He goes down and plows that infield and able to, luckily enough, avoid contact and damage to that race truck. But that mixes things up here again this afternoon. Now drivers are going to have a bit of odd choice here after seeing those green flag pit stops, seeing drivers come down pit road and make those green flag stops. You do see Kevin Wenker, he's down pit side. He was going to have to make a pit stop here shortly. Seeing with Zach Michael and Mark Beverly also coming down pit road. So kind of pitting out a sequence as Ely and Austin Gustafson down pit side getting repairs done to their trucks. That 27 to Nick Gardner also down on pit road. Let's take a look back here. Before this caution flag, not too long before we saw the yellow flag come out, Nick Gardner had some other issues here on the front straightaway, almost in the exact same spot. Let's take a look at it here. Is the 27 ride rolled out at corner number 4, just loses that rear end again, washes down the racetrack into the apron here now. No caution flag as he was down off the racing surface, and there's a bit of a heartbreaker there for the 27 ride as he could have definitely used that caution flag there and maybe avoided that additional caution flag a lap or so later as he went around again there out of 4 and ended up into the fence, ended up into that 71 and 83 machine, and unfortunately now finds himself down pit side getting some extensive repairs done to that truck. As we did see Chris Gilbert actually come down pit road right there. John Herbert coming down pit side again here as well. So other drivers may be elected to try to use that strategy here this afternoon as fuel could become a big issue. We're getting closer and closer to where fuel could be a major player in this race, and for each and every one of these drivers, they want to make sure that they can keep themselves in the right position. For Alex Pelican, the right spot is right where he's at, out in front leading this race. Ryan Peterson there in second with Ed Koscherberger there in position number 3. Nathaniel Ostrowski, Nicholas Snyder, our top 5 with Stephen Hines there in 6. Brandon Domingue back in 7th with Brad Lane. Zach Michael and Kevin Wenker, K-Dub, rounding out our top 10. Mark Beverly there in 11th with Chris Gilbert back in position number 12. Brian Chu scored in 13th. Now Chu is still scored a lap down back here in this 51 run. Definitely not a spot he wants to be, as him and about half of the field here still scored a lap down out there on the speedway. They're going to look to try to rebound here this afternoon. Hoping to see maybe a couple more caution flags, a couple more opportunities for them to work themselves back out in front. As here we go, back to green flag racing, back to duking it out here in this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump on board with that Muehlberger Custom Homes number 42 with Kevin Wenker and go back to our Peacemaker Gaming, rank it up here for this restart. And K-Dub and all these drivers get ready to go back to battle. unfortunately, there is the caution flag going to come back out. Cautions, breeding cautions, and for that, Reach Power Sports KR Gutters, number 87, rider John Herbert, who was off to such a great start here this afternoon. Now running into some issues. He was still scored back there, a lap down. Now finds some more problems up there on the speedway. The door-to-door ends up being 3 wide, unfortunately. He'll make some contact here from the racetrack. Into that 48 ride, then he moves to control that front, locks him up, luckily enough, everyone able to avoid him, keep themselves out of more carnage there in. Avoid heavy damage there with that 87, keep themselves going in the right direction. So a one-car spin, not a whole lot of contact there, and luckily enough, it'll be a quick cleanup and quickly get these drivers back out there and onto the speedway. Here we go, we see Mark Beverly headed down pit side. We do see a couple of these other drivers also headed down pit road, like Chris Gilbert, Kevin Winker, Stephen Hines. All these drivers coming down pit side, getting additional pit stops, some more fuel into their trucks, and back out there onto the speedways. It's getting closer and closer to them not having to make another green flag pit stop here this afternoon. If we see it stay clean and green down to the end here this afternoon, it could potentially be a fairly long race here for some of these drivers. It could potentially have them making another green flag pit stop here late in this race. So a lot of these cats right now, they're trying to save fuel, trying to make sure they can make it to the end, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. When you look at our race leader like Alex Pelican, he came down pit road on lap number 96. For Ryan Peterson, it was lap 100. For some of these other drivers, it's been 10, 15, 20 laps since they were down pit side. For Kevin Winker, Chris Gilbert, Stephen Hines, they were just down pit road there on lap number 114, and now it does seem like they're headed back down pit side again here. So they're going to be looking to get some more work, some more fuel into these trucks, making sure they're absolutely topped up to the top here this afternoon and trying to play that pit strategy game here. Where we say clean and green, they may not have enough fuel here to make it to the end of this race. We're then having to come back down pit side here this afternoon. So that's going to make things very, very interesting late in this race. We get ready to go back to green flag race, and we get ready to duke it out again here on Peacemaker Gaming with the HCK Beagles Truck Series. So we'll get ready to go back to battle. We'll get ready to get out here once again. The flashing lights are still on the official air racing truck, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer here. At least another lap, and that's going to give us time for a quick break here and a quick word in with our sponsors over at Frets for Friends.
Friends for Pets! Friends for Pets!
Alrighty, here we go, back to green flag racing this afternoon with about 40 laps of racing action left here in the Iowa 167. Where does the corn grow? Presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes as we go back to green flag racing. Alrighty, some great racing here again. Another perfect restart for that 16 truck of Alex Pelican. As Pelican once again leading this race and pulling away with it as he's looking to try to pick up the checkered flag here this evening, as that will bring a close to our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up here this afternoon. Shout out to all these drivers. A beautiful Crank It Up session right there, giving us the sights and sounds around Iowa Speedway. As out in front, the 16 of Alex Pelican continuing to lead the way. The Celsius, Bucky's, Chevy Silverado out in front here has a sizable gap, just over a second between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder trying to hunt him down out there on the speedway. We do see Nathaniel Ostrowiecki in the KTM number 14 truck, now up into third here. Heck of a run and drive this afternoon for Nathaniel Ostrowiecki as he rolls there in position number 3. Brandon Deming there in 4th, with Brad Lane rounding out our top 5 as Ryan Peterson back there in 6th, Zach Michael there in 7th. Then we see Mark Beverly, who we saw up in the outside fence there not too long ago. Heavy rear end damage has been repaired to that 3 ride and still battling up inside the top 10 here this afternoon. Heck of a run there for the Asphalt Outlaws number 3 machine as he rolls there in 8th. Chris Gilbert back there in 9th, and Ed Koshersberger rounding out our top 10 there in that Tech Warrior number 19 machine. Tyson Pankow back there in 11th with Stephen Hines, who we saw go for a bit of a slide there down through the infield grass himself as that Black Rifle Coffee Company number 24 ride up into the 12th spot on the speedway. And then we see Kevin Winker, K-Dub, right there behind him. Winker back there in that 13th position. Now, these two drivers came down pit road there on lap 116, making sure these trucks were absolutely filled with fuel, making sure that they can try to make it to the end here without having to come back down pit road. And this could be potentially the battle for the race lead late in this race. If we have to see everyone else come back down pit lane, if we see it go clean and green down to the end, Alex Pelican, Nicholas Snyder, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, all these drivers may have to make another green flag pit stop out there on the speedway. If they're going to come back down pit side, it's more than likely going to forfeit the race lead back over to some of these drivers that came down pit road late in this race. When you look back there at drivers like Mark Beverly, who are down on pit road on lap 114, or maybe Chris Gilbert, who is also down pit road on lap 114. And then we look back, we see Tyson Pankow on lap 115. You see Kevin Winker, Stephen Hines, lap 116. So there's a few of these drivers that are on this different pit strategy, trying to get that extra little bit of fuel, trying to have the extra equipment here for late in this race. And if this does go clean and green, it could play right into their hands, and they could be holding on to a royal flush out there on the speedway. Man, could potentially be a very solid move, a very solid gamble out there on the racetrack, making all these different pit stops and getting the extra fuel added to their race cars, and potentially putting themselves into a position where they give up that track position, but in the long run it helps them out. So having that future look at things, having that premonition of coming down pit side and getting that extra fuel and tires potentially could put them into victory lane. As now we do see Joshua Ledoux is headed down pit side here himself in that 38 truck. So looks like Ledoux, he's kind of made that call and came down pit road here. Unfortunately for him, still scored a lap down. Going to go a couple laps down here as our race leader going to roll down and around him here, as we are about 35 laps away from seeing that checkered flag fly, and now starting to see some drivers having to make green flag pit stops here again. Seemed like they could only make it about 40 laps without having to come down pit road. So for those drivers that did come back down pit side, made those additional pit stops, man, it could get very, very close for them on fuel as well. But for these other drivers, their bend may be made, and they may have to come down pit side again here very, very shortly, as we'll start to see potentially in the next 10, 15 laps, maybe a lot of these drivers starting to come down pit road and making their final pit stops. You don't want to wait too long and come down too late in this race where your fresh tires or anything may not help you out. You may not be able to get full advantage of them. So being able to kind of split this kind of run up and maybe taking that bullet, eating that bullet, and headed down pit side, making sure you get those fresh tires onto your race car soon enough could potentially put you up and leapfrogging some of these drivers. We did see Zach Michael running into some issues right there, but there he goes. He's bounced back because he was blinking out there on the racetrack. Luckily enough, we do got this 34 back under control, still rolling there in that 8th position as Chris Gilbert back there behind him. It's very, very difficult when a car starts to blink out there on the racetrack, starts to have those connection issues with the drivers around you, it is very hard to kind of judge and make sure that you're not running into them or having contact with them, as you can't see them out there on the racetrack. You're not 100% sure on where they're going to be running, and definitely could slow you down or hinder your performance out there on the racetrack in a quick hurry. So luckily enough, looks like the internet holding strong now again for Zach Michael as he rolls there in that 8th position. But out in front, continuing to lead the way, it's the Celsius Buckies, number 16 of Alex Pelican. Pelican out in front. Continue to show these drivers how to get it done. 1.4 seconds between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder trying to hunt him down. He's been back there in tow, trying to rebound from being a lap down earlier to being right there on the back bumper of our race leader, trying to race his way to the front of the field here for a lot of laps this afternoon. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki having a solid run there in third, and Brad Lane in that race line. Number 1 ride rolling there in position. Number 4 in looking for more. Brandon Deming there in 5th, with Mark Beverly back in that 6th position, as Ryan Peterson back in 7th. Zach Michael, Chris Gilbert, Ed Koshersberger also out there rounding out our top 10. And here you go, our race leader Alex Pelican. He bites the bullet. He comes down pit side. Now this is a big strategy call. Is it going to work out for him? Is it going to play out for this 16 truck? Will he be able to find his way into victory lane after being snake bitten last week in Chicago? Came up about 6 or 7 laps shy of finding victory lane after leading every lap until that 18 truck drove around him, and Jacob Grube stealing that win from him last Tuesday afternoon. Pelican's been a man on a mission here this evening, trying to rebound from that, hoping to put himself back up into victory lane here tonight, as Nicholas Snyder does concede that race lead, has put that 16 right a lap down. As here we go, our race leader, our pole sitter, rolls back out there onto the racetrack, now scored back in the 14th position, and unfortunately is a lap and a bit behind our race leader now, as there is Nicholas Snyder down across the line here, staying out on the racetrack. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Brad Lane, Mark Beverly, and Brandon Deming, our top 5 out there on the racetrack, as right now, the driver inside the top 5 with the best tires and the best fuel mileage out there is this 3 rider, Mark Beverly. Beverly came down pit road about 20 laps or so, 15-20 laps after everybody in front of him came down pit road. So he's got that extra bit up his sleeve here. He's got that extra fuel and could potentially make it to the end of this race without having to make another green flag pit stop. For a driver like Alex Pelican, making that early pit stop, knowing that he can use these fresh tires and try to lay down some really fast laps, trying to rebound it and drive around a lot of these drivers and maybe race his way back into contention here this afternoon, especially if some of these cats don't come back down pit side. He wants to make sure that he can use these fresh tires to the best of his ability, as we do see Brandon Deming also now heading down pit side. Same with Ryan Peterson, so more drivers making that call. Headed down pit road here as Snyder stays out there on the speedway. We'll have to wait and see how long this 5 ride stays out there on the racetrack, is now here you go. He's going to come down pit lane. So Snyder down pit road. Here comes Brad Lane down pit side, and that's going to forfeit the race lead over to the KTM 14 machine of Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. So Ostrowiecki now leading this race as more and more drivers start to head down pit side with only 25 more laps left to go. This is going to get very, very interesting here. We're going to have to keep a close eye on some of these other drivers on what they're doing out there. Some of these cats that came down pit road, on lap 99, lap 97, how far they can make it, and those drivers that were under yellow flag coming down pit side, how much that extra fuel could potentially put them into victory lane, as we do see Snyder down pit road, Brad Lane down pit side, Alex Pelican going to get around all of them there as he uses those fresher tires to his advantage, being out on the racetrack there for an extra 5 laps or so with those extra tires, able to stay out in front of Snyder, Ryan Peterson, Brad Lane, all these other drivers. Now we do see Chris Gilbert making his way down pit side here, so Gilbert coming down pit road. We do still see Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, who's given up the race lead. He's now slid back into second as Mark Beverly has taken that race lead away. Now Beverly was down pit road on lap 114, 15 laps after Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, still staying out there on the racetrack. Brian Juke came down pit road on lap 97. That was what, 16, 17 laps after that 3 machine, and about 10 laps, earlier than what we saw for 20 laps earlier for Kevin Winker and Stephen Hines. So the pit strategy's definitely going to play out here. It's definitely going to become very, very interesting on what these drivers can do, should do, or may do out there, as we do see Chris Gilbert down pit road as well there in that 45 run, making sure he gets his truck filled up with fuel back out there onto the racetrack, and now trying to use those fresh tires to his advantage is Alex Pelican back there in position number 7. Here comes Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. He can't wait any longer, has to come down pit side here himself with 21 laps left to go. So the fuel is going to be very, very tight, and we already see drivers like Kevin Winker and Stephen Hines. They were back there deeper in the field making those extra pit stops, trying to make it so they can make it to the end here, and they've been off the pace. They have not been running very fast laps at all compared to anybody out there on the racetrack. So they've been giving up a lot of time, but potentially that has been saving them some extra fuel, cutting the cost down, cutting it down here to where maybe they only need to save for a little bit longer. If they can only save here for so long, but if they can save enough fuel to where they get the green light, they're good to go to the end, then they can start to put the throttle down, try to lay down some good fast laps, and try to keep all these other drivers back there behind them, as right now that seems to be the battle, as Mark Beverly did come down pit road himself. So it looked like he maybe was going a little too hard, a little bit too soon out there, burnt up some of that fuel a little bit quicker than what Kevin Winker and some of these other drivers were doing. Bit that bullet, came down pit road here himself in that 3 truck, and now scored back in the 11th position. Zach Michael, though, he's staying out there on the racetrack, and he was asked down pit side on lap 106 for Tyson Pankow. Was lap 115 for Kevin Winker. It was lap number 116, but here he goes, slow down on the racetrack here. Looks like he is still in that conserve mode, still trying to save some fuel. Stephen Hines also right there. He was down pit road on lap 116. He's in that fuel conservation mode as well, and I think for both these drivers, the strategy, it may work out for them. It may put them into victory lane, but it's going to be very, very tight on fuel. They're going to be right down. Their calculator is going to be working overtime, as here we go. You do see the 91 right of Tyson Pankow. Pankow realizes that the strategy may not work out for himself. He heads down pit side. He's looking to get that fuel and tires and try to roll back out there onto the speedway. Zach Michael still staying out there. Last down pit road on lap 106, and now with about 17 laps left to go in this race. I mean, he's ran a 40-lap run so far, somewhere around there, 40 laps, something like that. 41 laps since coming down pit side. Now, he did have a couple caution laps there, may be able to save a lap or two of fuel during the green flag run, so we'll have to wait and see, how far this 34 ride can take it. See how long he can wait out there on the racetrack, and how much hope does that give to that 42 of Kevin Winker. Is what a fitting race it would be to see the Muehlberger Custom Homes number 42 ride pick up the win here this afternoon in a race sponsored and powered by Muehlberger themselves here this afternoon. So that would be something here this evening. And Kevin, we talked earlier before this race got underway, he said that maybe I put a bit of black magic on him. He's been feeling cursed here lately. Every single league race that he does when I'm not broadcasting, he seems to do pretty good in, but the ones that I have been broadcasting that he races in, he's been snake bitten, hasn't had very good runs, hasn't had very good finishes, and even when he's had good runs, has ended up in the catch fence or upside down and out of races early on, or not getting the runs that he probably should have. And here he is tonight, trying to take that fate into his own hands, trying to play that fuel strategy game and seeing if this could potentially put him into victory lane. But he's got to be careful, as he doesn't have a big gap here. Alex Pelican, who's got the fresh tires, he's rolling there in third. It's only about 4 seconds between himself and our race leader and Kevin Winker. So if they still got to save some fuel, they're still trying to lay off the throttle here. They're giving up a lot of time to that 16 machine. A Pelican may be able to hunt them down and still make the move around them. Now, that fuel strategy may work out, may still get them a top 3 or a top 5 run, but for them to try to put themselves in the victory lane, they're going to have to start picking up that pace here, and unfortunately that may start to burn up that fuel and could potentially keep them from finding victory lane here this evening. So Hines out in front, Kevin Winker there in second. That last lap around, about a second difference there, 0.8 of a second between our race leaders in this 16 ride of Alex Pelican Pelican as he's hunting them down in a quick hurry. Nicholas Snyder back there in position number 4 and looking for more here. He's a little farther back, seeing with that number 1 of Brad Lane, who rounds out our top 5 on the racetrack. Brandon Ming there in 6 with Ryan Peterson, Mark Beverly, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, and Tyson Pankow, our top 10 out there on the speedway. But it's all Stephen Hines as Hines continues to lead the way. Stephen Hines out in front. K-Dub Kevin Winker rolls there in position number 2, but that gap is about 2 seconds between himself and Alex Pelican, as Pelican hunting them down in a quick hurry. But for these two drivers out in front, trying to play that strategy game, trying to hit the right on top of the head here, trying to hit that nail in the head, trying to put themselves into victory lane, and playing this fuel strategy game may potentially be what they need to find victory lane or try to steal this win away from Alex Pelican, which would be a second big loss in a row for Alex. He's been having such good runs, such great pace out of that 16 truck the last couple weeks. Unfortunately, could not find victory lane last Tuesday. Had to settle in for second as Jacob Group stole that win away from him from the road course, the street course in Chicago here at the HCK Beagles, and now rolls back here in position number 3, but has the tires, has the fuel, has that speed and momentum, and here you go. He's looking to the outside already of Kevin Winker, so K-Dub, he's about to lose position number 2 out there on the racetrack. Is down across the line. We see only about 8 laps left to go, so for those drivers, they know they are just trying to hang on, trying to salvage everything they got, and seeing if they can make it to the end here on fuel. For Stephen Hines, it seems like he's been pushing the subject a little bit more here, maybe saved a little bit more fuel than that 42 of Kevin Winker. He's been back on the throttle now with 7 laps left to go. The gap is just over 1 second between himself and Alex Pelican. Pelican trying to reel him in though in a quick hurry, but if he can get there, now he's got to figure out a way to get around him here as well. So that's going to be the next big challenge for that 16 right now. With the better tires and the more fuel and everything else, he probably shouldn't have too much of an issue trying to roll around this number 24 ride, but a couple big blocks, a couple broken up runs for that 16 truck could potentially hold him back there in position number 2 and not allowing him to roll around our race leader Stephen Hines, as Hines continues to show these drivers that he is in the best strategy right now, that he is going to be the guy that they need to catch and pass here to try to pick up the win, as Kevin Winker continues to slide backwards here. He's there in 3rd and now getting passed for position number 4, as there goes that 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder back up inside the top 5. He's got a bit of a gap back to that 1 machine of Brad Lane, but Lane going to be hunting him down in a quick hurry. He's out in front. There's the gap. 1st and 2nd. Stephen Hines, Alex Pelican. It's about 2 or 3 truck lengths, and up on the outside lane. Down low, though, you see Hines. He can't make it on fuel. He's going to come down pit road. Oh, that's a heartbreaker right there for the 24 ride. Has to make that late race pit stop. Now headed down pit side here as Alex Pelican does consume that race lead. So Pelican back out in front with Nicholas Snyder there in 2nd, and K-Dub Kevin Winker still hanging on to 3rd out there on the speedway. We'll see if he can make it to the end on fuel, if he's got enough left in that tank, or if he's going to have to make a late race pit stop and take that Muehlberger Custom Homes 42 truck down pit side. As Pelican down across the line will click off another lap, and we see only 3 more laps left to go here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get on your feet and cheer these drivers on. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, and make sure you turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when we go live here on Peacemaker Gaming. As down across the line, we see the Twin Sticks. 2 laps left to go here for Alex Pelican, as the Buckies Celsius number 16 truck looking to find his way into victory lane, as Nicholas Snyder hanging on to 2nd. K-Dub back there in 3rd. Now he's got a very fast number 1 rider Brad Lane trying to race up here, trying to steal that podium finish away from that 42, as K-Dub trying to hold on to 3rd here, knowing that this is the last lap around across the line. So the white flag has been displayed one more time around here for Alex Pelican. Pelican down through 1 and out of 2. The final time here this afternoon in the Iowa 167, where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes, is going to go to the Buckies Celsius number 16 of Alex Pelican, as Pelican picks up up the win here in Iowa. Pelican gets it done. Snyder there in second, and Brad Lane will steal third place away from Kevin Winker. K-Dub slides back into position number 4 on the racetrack as Mark Beverly rounds out our top 5. Brandon Meng there in 6th. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki back in 7th. Ryan Peterson, Zach Michael, and Ed Koshersberger rounding out our top 10 out there on the speedway. As Alex Pelican gets it done, he'll get ready to burn down the house here in Iowa after picking up the Iowa 167 where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes here this afternoon. The Celsius Bucky's 16 machine gets to celebrate here this evening after coming home second last week and having that awful taste of defeat in his mouth. He's able to come to Iowa and cash in and pick up a big payday here this evening, being able to pick up the win and pull himself into the HCK Beagles Truck Series victory lane, as we'll get ready to pull all of our drivers up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews here. Our top 3 going to be waiting patiently down pit side. We'll get them up here into the booth and see what they can do here this afternoon, what they got to say about this racing action here this evening, as we'll get ready to pull them up here. We'll wait for them to jump into that podium finishers waiting room here and pull them in. Actually, we got our race leader right here. Let's get Alex right in here. Hey, Alex, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alex, man, what a run, what a race, brothers. You're able to find yourself up here in victory lane after last week's heartbreaker, coming up one spot shy of the top spot. You back it up here this week. You roll into Iowa with some confidence, some momentum, and you come here with a mission and an accomplishment in hand, and you are able to get it done. And it took a little bit extra out of you after, leading that first 50 laps or so, coming down pit road, and all of a sudden, in that pit cycle, you go a lap down, the caution flag comes back out. You get the wave around, though. Back onto the lead lap. You got to work yourself through all that lap traffic, and then back up through the field. You get yourself back out in front, and then once again, playing that pit strategy, trying to figure out the best way to put yourself up here into this top spot. And late in this race, we saw a couple of those drivers trying to do that fuel strategy game right there. Kevin Winker, the 24 ride of Hines, trying to run it down to the end, and you were hunting them down in a quick hurry, trying to steal this win away from them, but it was always yours here this evening, as you were able to blow their doors off as they had to come down pit side, and you were able to pull yourself up here into victory lane, brother. Take us back through this race and what's kind of going through your mind right now as you're able to join us up here in victory lane.
Well, just glad that it's over, honestly. I figured that I was going to lose it in possibly the most bizarre way possible, and just glad we picked it up.
Absolutely, definitely happy for you to be able to find yourself up here in victory lane for the first time with the HCK Beagles Truck Series. Another first-time winner here in the series, and it definitely didn't come without some work, as we talked about. Obviously going a lap down, having to battle back through some of that traffic, and then battling through some of the pit strategy out there and everything as well, where you get a little nervous there at the end, knowing that Winker and the 24 ride may have that strategy kind of down pat. They may have had enough there. Obviously, Winker had enough to get to the end. He had to roll really far out of the throttle, though, allowing you to easily pass him and get around him there. But if they saved maybe an extra lap or two sooner, maybe they could have been on the throttle there and maybe been able to hold you off there late in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be close, and that I knew that if I was able to pit, that I'd be able to run it as hard as possible. So, I knew it was going to be close. The 3 was close. I think it was the 42 was close. So, yeah, I just was hoping that we didn't get a caution there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Not wanting that caution flag, not wanting them to be able to come down pit side, get those fresh tires on, and see if they can roll up there. But, man, it was all about track position, being at the right place at the right time, and you were able to nail it perfectly here this afternoon as you pulled that 16 ride up here into victory lane, man. Who'd you like to thank for your first win here on the season and your first win here with the HCK Beagles?
Like to just thank all my teammates for just being with me in the Discord and hanging out every week. Like to thank everybody that puts the league on, allows us to come out here and do this, and all the sponsors that sponsor the league. And I appreciate you for doing the broadcast, putting this out there.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Alex, great run, great race. Congratulations on the win here this afternoon, man. Many more in the future for you here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in Victory Lane next Tuesday.
That would be wonderful.
Beauty, enjoy the rest of your night, and don't party too hard down there in Victory Lane.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Alex Pelican. Is Alex able to get the job done and pull himself up and into Victory Lane, picking up the win here this evening in the Iowa 167, where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes. As we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher, our second place driver waiting patiently down there in the Discord. Let's see if we can find him here. Where is... We're trying to find our second place driver now. Where did Nick Snyder disappear to? Let's see if we can get him up here into the booth. He's in here somewhere. I just don't know where exactly he's hiding and which Discord he's hiding in. There he is. Okay, we found him. Let's get him in here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our second place finisher, Nick Snyder. Hey, Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Taking a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Nick, man, another solid run, another great drive out of you, man, and you're able to back it up with a second-place finish here this afternoon, brother. Take us back through this race, and what's going through your mind right now as you're able to park it up on the podium?
Got a lot of things I probably shouldn't say. Let's just say that, with the first caution to being trap lap down, and then, people staying out there with knowing that they're going to be pitting in 4 laps, but they're, running their race. I mean, I get it. Just as a driver aspect, I just felt like Alex and I could have probably had a little bit more of a battle than what it was. Tire fall off really wasn't key as I thought it was going to be in the first run. I thought Alex would at least somewhat kind of backed up to me, but surprisingly he didn't, and there wasn't really much, tire fall off. And we pretty much stayed on almost the same strategy until the very end. I just had to try something different, and just getting through the lap traffic, it was just tough. The air and stuff was just terrible, getting front tight and then air loose. So it was definitely a definitely hard fought second, I would say. I was worried Brad was going to be coming there at the end, but seemed like I had a little bit better pit stop than he did.
A little bit quicker pit stop there, and late in this race, obviously seeing some of those drivers stay out a little longer, trying to play some more of that pit road strategy game out there. One of them being Kevin Winker, who trapped you guys a lap down, staying out there on the racetrack during that first quarter marker there, as we saw that caution flag come out around lap 52, and unfortunately right in the middle of the first set of green flag pit stops there, trapping you and so many others a lap down out there on the racetrack. What was kind of going through your mind there as Winker was trying to pull that strategy game off there late in the race, staying getting that extra fuel later on, trying to make it there to the end. Obviously he made it to the end, but just wasn't able to keep up that pace, trying to save so much fuel there late in this one that he wasn't able to steal this one away from anybody.
Honestly, I don't know, his strategy. I mean, it never works for him. So I never know what he's thinking half of the time. But again, cautions, helped him more than anything, because if, we had a green flag run like how we normally would have, it would have been a different story for him. And I don't think he plays fourth. So, yeah, I don't think he would have placed fourth if we had our normal green flag runs in. And but yeah, at the moment, as long as with everyone else and somewhat part of my team here, we are all kind of a little bit upset, but just the adversity that we have, just had a fight to get back on the lead lap, and was just praying for a caution, and it happened. So it just came out a little later than I wanted to, but again, that's all part of racing.
Absolutely all part of the fun of the game here, and you're able to back it up and still drive yourself back up to the front of the field here and come home with a solid second place run here, a good points day, and a solid performance out of that number 5 truck again here this afternoon. Nick, who would you like to thank for another strong run, strong performance out there on the speedway?
I'd like to thank all the admins, that put up their Tuesday night race, so all of us drivers can come out and race. Greg for putting his time, Ryan, and just the rest of the people, and for all the people that took their time on Tuesday night to watch the broadcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, as there was a lot of different strategy and uh, games kind of going on. Um, and also like to thank Billy and Ian and the rest of my crew that took their Tuesday night and watched the race.
Absolutely. Well, great run, great drive here for you tonight, Nicholas, and a solid second place finish to send it off and into the history books here from Iowa. Brother, good run, good drive. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Tuesday and hopefully right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. That's the plan every week.
Beauty. Well, that's the way you pick up championships. I know that's what's kind of sticking in the back of your mind.
Yes, sir. Longevity.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Nick Snyder. Snyder coming home there in position number 2. Solid run, solid drive there for him as we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Brad Lane. Lane waiting patiently down here in the broadcast waiting room. Let's pull him up here into the booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Brad, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Brad, man, a strong run, a great race there of the race line number 1 machine, and you're late in this one, able to kind of battle back through there, battle from a lap down with some of the different pitch strategies that were being thrown around out there, and here you are backing up with a solid top 3 run, just getting by Kevin Winker there late in the race as he was running out of fuel.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Caution while most of the leaders were pitting really put us in a bad spot. So we just hoping to kind of get back on the lead lap and get another caution to get cycled back around, and just cautions kind of fell at the right moment, and they're able to kind of pick my way up through the field. But I mean, Alexander and Nick were the class of the field. I was lucky just to get third.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to come home in third, keeping a lot of these fast cats back there behind you, man, and being able to gain some pretty, valuable points here, midway kind of through this season. It's got to feel pretty good knowing that things are, pointing in the right direction, that you're starting to get these good finishes and potentially maybe finally get that number 1 right up here into victory lane.
Yeah, I got some good tracks coming up for me, but right now it's just all about points racing. The win will eventually come, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be here. It's definitely right around the corner for you, and hopefully one of these nights we'll get to see that number 1 right up and into victory lane here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. But Brad, you got to settle in for third here this afternoon in Iowa. Man, who'd you like to thank for a solid run and great drive out there on the speedway?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, Nick, Chris, and Greg. We, throughout the race, talking strategy, when to pit, when not to pit, what other people are going to do. So it's I don't get on here a lot in practice. I just kind of jump in and, run the race. And it's good that, they know a little bit more about the pit strategy than I do. So that helps me, get in a better position.
Absolutely. Well, teamwork makes the dream work. Brad, congrats on that third place finish here this afternoon. And hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next Tuesday. Maybe a couple spots better for yourself and up in victory lane.
Yes, sir. Hope so. Have a good night.
You as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Brad Lane. Mr. Lane coming home there in position number 3 here this evening, as B Laner there in position number 3 here this evening, putting on a heck of a show, heck of a race for us, man. All these drivers put on a great show for us, right from the drop of the first green flag right down to the checkered flag here in the Iowa 167 where the corn grows, presented by Muehlberger Custom Homes. Man, this was a heck of a race, heck of a show by each and every one of these drivers. We can't thank them enough for making this happen, making this possible, making it so fun for all of us to enjoy here on this Tuesday afternoon. And to show your like and your support here of the show and of the action, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Even if you're rewatching the broadcast and you're getting to this point, even if we're no longer live, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button for us. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today, whether it's over on YouTube, over on Facebook, or over on Twitch, as we live stream to every one of those channels every single night of the week here with racing action. If you don't want to miss any of that racing action, see some of the other amazing amazing leagues and races that we have up here in the broadcast booth and on the channel on a nightly basis, man. Make sure you turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss the racing action here this evening. Liam comes in, says, awesome race, everyone. Have a great night. And don't forget to check out your local Southwestern Michigan contractor, Muehlberger Custom Homes. Make sure you guys go check out Muehlberger Custom Homes and everything they got to do. Huge shout out again to Muehlberger themselves, Bruce Muehlberger, and the entire Muehlberger Custom Homes family for coming in and being our sponsors here and being such a helping hand here with the HCK Beagles, man. We can't thank you guys enough for all the love and support and being a part of these amazing, amazing races and of this amazing league, and we can't do it without you guys. So huge shout out there to Bruce and to all of our other amazing sponsors as well that you see down there in the bottom right. Huge shout out to each and every one of them as well. But thank you guys, all the fans of the stands, for tuning in and showing the love here throughout the evening, and we'll see you guys back in action here tomorrow night as the Wednesday night Street Fights Dirt Street Stocks back in action tomorrow evening for some more amazing fun here on Peacemaker Gaming. We'll see you guys there. Peace out for now, baby. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen. What a run, what a race, what a show.
For Pets! Friends for Pets!
Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining life so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might.